The purpose of this tutorial is to teach you the basics of editing with Premiere Pro. Once you've inserted your SD card with the media that you've just recorded, you can go ahead and make a new folder on the desktop. Now, you want to go ahead and drag the media from your SD card onto your folder. Any images, videos, or audio that you would like in your project, you should go ahead and drag them in this folder to keep them all in one single location. You're going to need to hold on to these files for the entire time to go back and re-edit your work. Once you have a folder with everything that you'd like in it, you can go ahead and open up Premiere Pro. When you get to the welcome screen, go ahead and click New Project. Here, we want to make sure that this is selected as HDV. We'll want to browse the location of where we want to save our file, which for us will be in this original folder we created on the desktop, which was AAA. Choose there, and then we'll call this whatever we want. Then click OK, and then you can select your sequence preset. If you don't know what you recorded in, or you don't understand this, you can simply click one and press OK, and it'll change automatically later. Now once we get into our window, the first thing we want to do is import media, which is down here. So under your media browser tab, you want to go and find your actual footage that you just recorded and placed onto that folder on the desktop. Once you've found your footage, you'll also notice that your file should be saved in there. To bring footage over into the sequence, which is where you'll actually be editing your video, you can simply click, drag, and drop onto the sequence. When you get this clip mismatch warning, it reminds you that the preset that you chose for your sequence doesn't match up with the actual videos that you've just imported onto it. So you want to go ahead and say change sequence settings so that they're the same size. Once loaded, you can see that you can scrub through your video and see what your movie is going to look like in your preview window. You can also go and add a second clip. Back at your media browser, you can go and drag this onto the sequence as well. The gap between your two clips will be representing your video as black with no sound. To get rid of that, you can move your second clip until it snaps onto your first clip, or you could simply delete the space. To edit, the main tools you'll be using will be the selection tool, which is the shortcut V on your keyboard, or the razor tool, shortcut C on your keyboard. And those are the ones you'll be able to switch back and forth. Once you go through and find out if you don't want a certain part of a video, you can grab your razor tool, or press C, and then click where you want to cut it. It'll automatically snap to your cursor if you are close to it. Now, if you want to zoom in on your timeline or sequence to see what you're working with, next to the delete key there's plus and minus buttons. Those will zoom in and out. Now you can see I've split this clip into two different independent pieces, so we can manipulate them independently. So if I click the back end, I can press delete and it'll delete that video. And you could do this throughout your entire sequence to get all of the clips that you don't want out and only keep what you do want to be in your final product. Now, if you didn't want to delete that, you can press Command Z or Control Z on the PC, or you could simply drag it out with this red bracket and arrow. When you see this, this means you can extend the clip and to its original size. If anything that you accidentally delete you want back, you can always find them in your project folder over next to your media browser. Media browser is where you import files, and your project is where your files that you've already imported stay for easy access. So we can bring them both back onto the sequence. Once you've done your alterations that you want for your final video, you can add effects or transitions to make your video seem more seamless and smooth. Under the Effects tab, you can go down and scroll through many different effects that Premiere Pro offers in its basic package. For instance, if I want to add a video transition to my clips, I can go down to Video Transitions, open one of the folders, and simply drag an effect in between the two clips. If you see in the preview window, it'll automatically apply the effect to my footage. This is exactly what it's going to look like when you export. So, once you're happy with your results, you go File, Save, then File, Export, and Media. Once in the export settings window, you can scrub through to see and make sure that the footage that you're getting is exactly the way you want it. Also, we can go up to Format and click H.264, which is what we recommend. And the preset is HDTV 720-2997. Choose your output name and source, which we'll call Final Video, and we'll save it in the same folder on our desktop with the rest of our files and our tutorial file. Alright, the rest of the settings are good, they really don't need to be messed with, so we can just go down here and see that the estimated file size is 15 megabytes. It's not a big deal, but if you were working with a lot more footage or a lot higher quality footage, it would be a considerable size, and you'd want to make sure that wherever you're saving it has enough space for it. Once you're ready for that, you can go ahead and press Export. We'll come back when this is done. If it hangs up at 100%, don't worry about that, sometimes it just takes a couple extra seconds. Once that's done, we can go ahead and minimize Premiere Pro, and then go check our folder that we've created. As you'll see, you have your original 2 video clips, the final video that we produced with Premiere Pro, and your Premiere Pro project file. You want to go ahead and watch through the final video that you made to make sure everything is as you intended it to be. Once everything and all the effects that you've done look good and the audio sounds good, then you're ready to save this folder to whatever storage device that you want. Knowing that if you ever need to go back and re-edit it, you can just double click on your tutorial project file and it will open up with all of the media next to it. I hope this tutorial was helpful, and there will be more to come on the specifics when editing in Premiere Pro.